Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Kam Mj Show. In this episode, we have a guest from Pakistan. His name is Bilal Awan, and he's been living in Ireland for nearly 2 decades. He is involved in many businesses. A couple of them to mention is iPing IT services and a startup called PsycReality, where psychology treatments are happening using virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. He's an active member in the business community in Ireland, and he is associated with multiple chambers of commerce. I'm looking forward to this conversation with Bilal. I know him just from a business perspective, but I want to explore more about his roots, what value does he bring, and where this startup treating psychology using AR, VR is going. So stay tuned. We will be back with Bilal very shortly. Hello, Bilal.
Hi, how are you, Kamil?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining on the show today.
Thank you for
And-
having me.
And I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Let's see who is looking forward more.
Yes, I heard about your business profile mostly because I have met you in the chamber
Cool.
in some events. But I want to explore more about Bilal's roots, where you're
Okay.
from,
Right.
and I want to know more about your personal life, whatever you're comfortable sharing.
That's
with.
fine.
Okay, so let's start our conversation.
Let's duck into it.
Okay, great. So Bilal, let's start with a quick introduction. Basically, who is Bilal?
Who is Bilal? Bilal is one of 4 siblings, born in Pakistan, Rawalpindi, and it's a very famous part of Potohar range. And mostly it has been the defending part of in the older times of the region. So a lot of fighters and the generals and a lot of brave people have been
Okay.
coming from this region. My father was in UAE army. He spent there nearly 38 years, nearly 4 decades. So my childhood was inner city. Spent there. Then we spent some time in UAE. Spent with father. Moved back to Karachi for about a year. Then came back to Rawalpindi. And then this is where I started my studies. Actually, I had 1 year study done in Karachi. So then journey started from there. I then went into uh, Islamic studies school where I was studying Quran, reciting by heart, and doing the schools at the same time. At a stage where I got very sick for nearly 6 months, I was on bed.
Wow.
I got jaundice, got into the bad shape, and then really took its toll on me. So doctor suggested at that stage either I to continue only the school studies or the Islamic studies, the Quran side. So we chose we'll go with the Quran studies. And looking at your teacup, that reminds me that was the first time I started drinking tea.
Okay.
And during the studies when I was doing overnight, and that was to keep me awake, right? And now I'm so used to that. Without tea, I can't sleep.
Yes.
Is that way around?
Tea is a lifeline even for me as
It
well.
is.
Like
Yeah.
before going to bed, I need tea, and after waking up, I need
After
the
waking
tea.
up, exactly the same.
So I'm gonna dig back a little bit more to Bilal's childhood. You know,
Okay.
we moved to 10th class and move on.
Okay.
When you were a small kid, what you used to do?
What I used to do, I mean, as I mentioned, my father was in UAE. So my mother, she had the responsibilities of playing both parents' role. So I didn't have much of a freedom to go out of the house, right? So we did a lot of gatherings in house. I loved paintings. I did some painting in childhood, and at some stage, I remember um, I was so excited. I did one painting, and it was basic one, some mountains and trees. It came out very, very good, right? So whoever was coming at home, I used to show them. And my mom got annoyed. She says, "What are you showing everyone? So you have done it, okay? Either put it on the wall or put it somewhere." So I got scolded a couple of times for being annoying, and guess what I did? I teared that painting apart.
Oh no.
And yes, that was one of the childhood thing. And then I was a bit of stubborn as well in the childhood, not in a bad way, but I was quite famous as a child and in the surroundings because I'm very friendly. I'm friendly with everyone. So that since childhood, something to be remembered. I think I was just an ordinary child at that stage. I mean, nothing special.
Any sports you were engaged with when you were
I
small
did
child?
karate.
Karate,
I
okay.
did karate, and the style was Shotokan. I did that one. I won a couple of prizes when I was, I think, 8 or 9 at that time.
Nice.
I did that one, and I did compete at city level in karate
Okay.
around 10, 11 years of age. I did a lot of cycling, right? And I used to teach a lot of my friends cycling. So that was good memories of childhood memories. Yeah.
No childhood is an ordinary childhood, Bilal. There's always some extraordinary activities there.
Yes.
So moving on to your studies, higher studies. Did you study in Pakistan?
I did my undergraduate in Pakistan.
Okay.
First, I went to college for the commerce. I did 2 years commerce, and I was never very good at numbers. And one thing I remember, I always get mixed up in few of the numbers, and I was doing some balance sheet in the exam, and everything is I'm checking, and then balance sheet is not balancing up for some odd reason. And I remember that one I spent nearly 2 hours only on that one, right? And somehow I just got the passing marks, right?
That's a nice saying, the balance sheet wasn't balancing,
Yeah,
it's not a balance sheet
it's
anymore.
not a balance. Yes, so no, I got through that one, and then I did computer science undergraduate. I developed interest in technology by that time, and I also started when I went to university for undergraduation. I was selling computers at the same time in the open market. I was doing a part-time job in the second campus of the university, right? So in one campus in the morning I'm studying, second campus I was working. In that place I was working as a receptionist. I did work as assistant exam controller, librarian, right? I held some of the events as well. And I remember once I was, because I was part of different events organizations, organizing events, and I did some of the MCs for a lot of programs, right? I did do one radio program as well, a quiz program on national radio.
Nice.
So I did that series even in my first year in college. I kind of lived my life, especially after 10th grade in the college, in the university, in very, how to say, lively way. I enjoyed every bit.
That's good. So if I summarize your roots, you were a bit of a bold, a bit of stubbornness, and you stand for what you mean.
Yeah.
And I believe you tried different professions, being journalist, doing multiple things just to explore, as you said, being lively. I feel like, I want to try something and you go ahead and try that part. And I think that's something for audience to listen is when you are earlier in that age, you have that freedom and luxury to do it. So don't just sit with one role and one direction, right? You should explore the world more, right, to understand what you like and what you don't like. So before you come to Ireland, what was your journey like? Where did you go from Pakistan?
From Pakistan, I went to the UK. But before arriving in the UK, there are some more funny stories
Okay,
in between. So, first, I went obviously for my interview into the British Embassy, the British High Commission in Islamabad, did the interview, and she asked me, um, when are you going to go or what is your plan? I said to her that I'm going to go. I'm talking in English. I mean, I didn't have much of a vocabulary, don't have it yet, but so there was a translator. So she asked, do you want a translator? I said, no, I'll do it myself. So I was trying to be cool. So she asked, what is your plan? Right. And I said, okay, I will go to Hajj. No, sorry. I said I will go to Umrah. She said, what is Umrah? That's a pilgrimage, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have that expression to explain it to her at that time, right? Oh, okay, 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 okay. So luckily I got the visa, and then I had this plan that I'll go to a pilgrimage on my way in, spend 2 weeks there in Saudi Arabia, then spend 2 weeks in Abu Dhabi. My father was in there, so we didn't have much time spent together because he was coming to Pakistan on 1 month, 2 months holidays, and that was not the time, obviously, with everything. And I spent 2 weeks with him, best time of my life, and he was actually my teacher and mentor in so many things because before even all this happened, at the age of 17, I was the coordinator of, there was a political party, I'm not going to name it. For obvious reasons, neither good or bad, but don't want to mention anything. So my father was the first person overseas to start an overseas membership, right? And I became at the age of 17 chief coordinator in between the foreign UAE office and Pakistan. Used to go to their political parties head office, get things done. So by the age of 17 or 18, half of the cabinet of that time, they knew me by name, right? I used to just call them. Even that age, I didn't used to call them by name. Sorry, by name, or I used to call them uncle. Uncle, I'm Bilal. So this is needs to be done. This is how I need. Okay, that's fine, right? That gave me a lot of exposure, and then that gave me a lot of experience on the public dealing and what to do and what not to do. And most importantly, what I learned, how not to be used. When you know someone, you would know, Camille, yourself as well, where we have come from, where our roots are from. So even if somebody knows that you have some connection with someone, whether it's right or wrong, they will ask you, they will force you
Yeah.
to get that thing done, right?
Yes.
So I learned to kind of shy away from that one, how to.
Mm.
So that was again the training of my father at that time,
Yes. I think the culture we come from, it is hard to say no.
how to say no.
And yeah, no, I understand what you mean. It's hard to explain
Yeah,
in the words, but this is part of the culture.
part of the
Kind of we
culture. I
grow
mean,
up
you
by.
feel obliged
Yes.
to oblige others,
Yes.
whether it is your remit or not.
Yes. Yes. And you go out of your comfort zone to
Definitely.
kind of please the person, and you don't want to disappoint them, but then it costs you a lot afterwards.
So 7 hours flight from Abu Dhabi to London, right? When I landed at Heathrow Airport, at that time, silly me or anxious me or whatever you call it, or I had suit and tie on, right? I had the blanket in my one hand, I had the shoulder bag, I had the suitcase carrying. So I came out of arrivals and then went to Southall. The guy who I was living with in the room, he used to work in Pizza Hut, right? So I said, okay, find a job for me. He says, okay, come to Pizza Hut. I will find you a job. I'll speak to the manager and we see what we can do. Fine. Took a bus. It took me completely opposite direction. Fine. Came back home. He says, no, silly, you have to take this bus. Next day, took the right bus, right? And got anxious. And I thought at a stop where I had to disembark, this is the one which was nearly halfway. I got off and realized this is not the place. And just behind the bus stop, there was a computer shop. Went in, and he says, I asked the guy standing there, do you have a job? No, 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 we don't have a job. Go. Fine. But an old man coming from behind, he says, okay, so you're looking for a job? I said, yes. I said, I have this certification, I have this certification, I have done this. Come tomorrow. I said, okay. Went there again and told him again that ambitious thing and, oh, I have this certification, I have this certification. There is a computer, fix it. I said, fine. I fixed it. And when I fixed that computer, so At that point, he says, okay, whatever repair comes in the shop, you fix it. It's 50-50 for both of us. I said, fine. And we did that deal, did some work week, 2 weeks. And then there had been 3 weeks, no computer came without money. Started looking for another job. Found a job in McDonald's. And in the meantime, very funny thing is, and I kept those um, applications going to apply different jobs. And there is no word of a lie. For at least 4 to 5 years after that, even coming into the Ireland as well, this much pile of the refusal letters. I kept them as an inspiration for me, right? So I got a job in McDonald's and started doing some work. And this person from the shop, computer shop, he says, "Why you're not coming regularly to the shop?" I said, "There is no work for me. That's why." And he says, "Then what are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing work in McDonald's, whatever I can." And he says, "You are educated person. You have white collar profession. Why you are working in a McDonald's where you can work much better way? Nothing wrong in any job, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. But the way he was saying that build up your professional career at the start of it in a profession you know about, rather trying to be fiddling around,
Yeah.
right?" So I said, "I don't have a permanent job." He says, "Okay, if I give you a permanent job now, like according to the student times or whatever, if I confirm you a job here part time," I said, "then I will leave the McDonald's."
Yeah.
When you start doing something in the profession, 90% people stick to that profession or that domain
Yeah.
for pretty much the rest of their life. I think this was the message he was giving me, that don't get stuck into those jobs.
Yeah.
Come back to your profession.
Yeah.
So this is the message I got,
Yeah.
which was very loud and clear. And my next two conversations with him on the same day, I still have them in my pocket, on my fingertip, on my tongue. I tell everyone. He told me two things. He said, "Forget what you have learned in Pakistan." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Learn how things are done here. So come out of that shell
Yeah.
that I know this, I know this." No, you don't know anything. It's a different culture, different people, different dealings. You have the knowledge, that's fine. But how to use that knowledge, learn it. Fine. Second thing he said was, you will never become rich overnight. So these two things I always remembered, and they're still with me. And he treated me as a son. His wife treated me as a son. They took me as a son, right? And I started learning. They were originally from Bulgaria. I started understanding few words what they are saying, right? I said, "What does it mean?" They said, "This means this." "What does it mean?" "This means this." They meant the same in Urdu,
Yeah.
right? I said, "How?" "Because of 500 years of Ottoman rule into Bulgaria, right? And then a lot of influence from that language, right? So they're talking about salan. Salan means salan. Shorba, shorba means shorba, right? They're talking about sapun. Sapun is sabun, soap.
Yeah.
They're talking about chadar. Chadar is chadar like a bed sheet.
Yeah.
They're talking about tawa. Tawa is a tawa like flatbread making pan,
Yeah.
right? So I started picking up and I started learning and speaking that language. And soon enough, I was so fluent that I was talking to Bulgarian people over the phone in Bulgarian language, and nobody could say that it was not a Bulgarian person on the other line.
Wow. That is so good to know that you know another language. You still speak Bulgarian?
I do understand. And then I, without learning anything in detail, I obviously asked them few things. I could read and write Bulgarian.
Wow. Very inspiring.
From there, I learned a bit of Russian, right? And then that is very relevant. Bulgarian is very relevant to Slavic languages, right? That is part of Slavic language. So I could understand Croatian, Bosnian, right? And then I also understand, which I learned in Pakistan, Persian,
Yeah.
right? So I could read, write Bulgarian and Russian. I do understand the alphabets. What do they mean of other Slavic language from Bosnia and from Kosovo? And yeah, that was fun. And funny thing is, after about 12 years, when I got job in that computer shop, I did buy out that business.
Very nice. So you are a master of languages.
I wouldn't say master. I mean,
An average person probably know two languages, I would say. Two hardest, right? You already counted at least six in front of me. So before we move to Ireland from UK, I want to explore the story about the lost bus or the wrong bus you took.
yes. So the wrong bus, what I took, by the way, that is a book title as well. I'm working
Okay.
on the wrong bus in London, right?
So let's start with the story of the wrong bus and we'll talk about the book at the later.
So obviously, I was going to a Pizza Hut, right? Got off a wrong bus stop, right? And got this job. And then in that house, I mean, they took me in as their son, right? And they said, okay, I had to move out of the house where I was living, was looking for a place. They said, okay, come live with us. And after a week, I think, or after 2 weeks, I went to give them the rent. Never took a rent from me. They treated me as a son. Wrong bus took me obviously to that place, that fun, gave me a place, a family outside Pakistan, right? And in that shop, in that business, that gave me so much freedom. I only did not have the authority to sign the check. Other than that, I had everything in my hand. That wrong bus took me to the place where I met a person who offered me a job in Ireland as an enterprise director of a pharmaceutical company, which I did. And I was one of the very early people who got the employment permit, work permit scheme.
Okay.
And I worked that one. I worked all the way up from there,
When did you move to Ireland?
2007.
Okay.
So I spent 3 years in London.
Nice. So if I summarize your UK journey, of course, you did a lot of things, but I think you find a family outside Pakistan
I did.
and they look after you well.
They did.
And I would say you are a lucky one to have something like that outside your home country.
And then I got a person who was offering me. So he says, okay, come here first, see how Ireland is. So I remember I went to Irish embassy in London, applied for the visa. The very first visa I got for Ireland, the memorable thing is the date. So that was 06/06/06,
Okay.
6th of June 2006. That was the first visa I got as a visit. Came here and spent some time, about 2 weeks, in Howth at that time, the nicest place of all the places, right? That was the first time I stepped onto any golf courses in my life. The Deer Park golf course in Howth. And yeah, then moved here the following year. I got a job in obviously another technology company, and I did head the IT side, technology side of the M50 upgrade phase two when the whole was happening. And there was about 12 companies involved, and all the IT we looked after. And I was the head of that one. I was the one who opened their very first computer. I think it was 2.5 years project at that time, right? So within about 2 months, they went from 5 users to about 180 users. And from there, my boss of that time, he was moving into a different domain. He sold out the company. I said, fine. I asked him, why did he not sell it to me? I might have bought it. Anyway, that's a different story. So I didn't get the opportunity to buy those customers. So my couple of friends, they said, today or tomorrow you're gonna start your own business anyway. Why not now?
Yeah.
I started my own business, and I approached one of the customers. There, they were not happy the way they were transferred to the new company, and they were looking for options.
Is that iPing you
No,
started?
no, no,
No.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
iPing is way down the line at the
Okay.
minute. I'm talking long ago. So I was trying to win that business. Fine. But they said, yes, we know you, you know our site as well. But the other companies established, obviously, all the customers are sold to them. Only thing is, we are not happy that we were not uh, taken into the confidence beforehand.
Mhm.
Anyways, I said, fine, but I'm trying to set up as well. So they said, fine. So we agreed on one thing, and that was, I think, Thursday. I remember exactly Thursday. Agreed on one thing, and Friday I received a call again. Bilal, yes, we agreed yesterday, but the other IT company came to match your offer. I said, give me one day only. I called him on Monday. That was Friday, calling him on Monday. And I said, listen, I'm going to offer you, because they were looking at the bottom line cost for the year.
Mhm.
I said, I'm going to give you 1 month free.
Mm.
So that will bring your cost down, and they will give the 12 months free. No, 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 we want first month free. I said, okay, you have it. I got that deal. And then when I sat with him, this he was CFO, financial guy. This is Bilal. We know that you don't know what I'm going to ask you. We need professional indemnity document. I said, what the heck is that? What is professional indemnity?
Yeah.
So I told you you wouldn't know. So I'm going to refer you to a broker, right? Get it, have it in place, then we would be able to start working together, right? And then it says, so who is your team? I said, I have this guy with me. And so they made sure they spoke to that guy, that are you with Bilal, are you
Yeah.
working with him? Yes. And that's how they gave me the contract, started working on them. So I've been working with those guys for so many years after that as well. And then another thing I learned, I lost them because they said, whenever we call you, it's always you who are answering our calls. I said, is it not a good thing? They said, yes, good thing and a bad thing as well. So I said, we have other couple of other guys. So anyway, they had made up their mind. So I lost them. Then at that point, I decided, I said, no, I need to join hands with someone. So when I started that one, obviously, I started in my sitting room on a couch, the computer table from uh, IKEA was half of this table's height, sitting on the floor, a small couch, and working on that one. And the only money I spent was that 1,000 euros, which I paid for the professional indemnity.
The insurance was the biggest cost for you.
That was the only cost for me, right?
Yes.
And the computer, I had very good computer, because when that M50 project finished, right, they said, okay, either you take it or dump them. I said,
Yeah.
fine. So I picked very good one for me because I knew every computer. So I
Yeah.
started working there, and then after 6 months, I realized no. I always had in my mind 1 plus 1 are always 11, but practically I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I had that logic in my mind, right? So I started looking for a partner. Came into partnership with an Irish person who was also looking. His main thing was he's solo. He cannot really take holidays or anything. He had very young daughter at that time, responsibilities, school run, all of that
Yeah.
one, right? So we started talking. 3 months talking, it fell down. It didn't happen, right? Fine. Then I said, okay, let's see what else we can do. Again, he calls me one day and, are you still looking? I said, yes. Are you still? Yes, I am. So we started talking again, and again took us about 3 months. So he was very particular in fine detail. That's fine. I learned that one from him a lot, and we started working together. We joined hands, and we were of two different mindset. Right, I am more of a risk taker. I can't be bound to one structured, if you say, skeleton of something. I mean, I need to have free wings. But there were few things which I wanted one way and he didn't want it, because I think him. living in his own country. That's not him, anybody who's living in
Yeah.
their own home country, not having traveled that much as I did, right? And I was trying to build myself, and he was established, right? So I had a different vision of the future. He had obviously different vision.
Mm.
Priorities were different. A time came, I said, John, we better keep our friendship and part our businesses. The best decision I made at that time, and we are still friends after nearly 11 years,
Mm.
right? 10, 11 years. We can't do business together, but we are very good friends. Technically, whenever I'm stuck, and no word of a lie,
Yeah.
I call him, John, this is where I'm stuck. How to do this? He tells me. The same thing, we respect each other, it's
Yeah.
reciprocal, and we talk freely on everything. Then, when I parted that way, I started another technology business, IT business. By that time, I had started traveling myself, met a few people in Croatia, and another Irish person. Met him there. He was a keynote speaker at one of the conferences and came back, and we met him. He says, Bilal, you're not ready for me. You're too young of a business at a minute. So why don't you come and attend one of the networking events I am chairing tomorrow? I said, fine, I've never done anything, but I'll come. Went there, liked what it was, never done before. So then I was invited to another chapter of that network in the city center. Went there, and I decided to join, right? And in the previous 11 years of my life in Ireland at that time, about 10 years in Ireland that time, I had not known people as many I got to know in those 6 months when I started doing the networking, right? And I always remember the words one of the great networkers said. His name is Ronan Toig, right? He said, consistency, turn up, turn up, turn up, show up, show up, show up. Don't expect that you're going to win business day one. It took me about 6 months before I got one referral, right? So this is all I started from there, and then I got involved in so many things. Started my own business, did networking outside Ireland, got some referrals, went into different countries, was invited, and because of that partnerships, those links, and I created those relations there, where I did GDPR security audit of one of the law enforcement agency in one of those countries. I'm not going to name them, right? But at initial level, not in much detail, but I
Yeah.
did. And based on these structured how I was going, right? I did participate in the Business Awards, South Dublin Chamber.
You are a very good networker. I
I
have
hope
seen
so.
you a lot. So I do want to pick your brain on how you get time for doing all this networking. And you are always energetic. So I want to know that secret.
I don't know about energetic always because sometimes I'm yawning in the meeting. And finding time is a tough call, Kamil, to be honest, because you do sacrifice family. Family does suffer, right? And like any other couple, we had so many arguments at the time, and now I'm trying to be better at that one, right? It's just you have to just go through this struggle, mean structure, because my time is distributed in so many things, right? That's by choice in one way, because if you ask me to sit and just relax and maybe half an hour, I can't do it. I have to be keep doing something.
The,
When
the,
I
the mind is not designed to do of sit and relax.
yes,
Yes. No, no.
especially mine.
I
So
understand your pain because I do have a very similar pain. Uh, so before we divert from the networking,
yes,
what sort of chambers you are involved at the moment?
I am part of South Dublin Chamber. I'm part of Kildare Chamber. I'm also part of PIBC, which is Pakistani Irish Business Council. I had been recently attending BNI. I was member there as well. I was also part of a business network called Venture. So different things. There are different flavors of different networking. I mean, some are very strict on like a regimental. Some of them are not so. Some of them are quite relaxed. Now I also chair one of the weekly networking meetings of South Dublin Chamber.
Yes, that's the one I was the guest once.
Yes.
7 a.m. in the morning.
7 a.m. Yes.
Oh,
So early mornings, yeah.
yeah.
And I think when you start early, that's kind of a boost
Yes.
that you have got some work done before your normal day starts.
Yes.
And main thing is another person I met during networking, and she was doing some education at one of the events, right? So in between table, that was a U-shaped table.
Yeah.
She takes an empty chair and put one person's name on that chair and puts it there, and she asks me or everybody, your name is written on this chair. What is this chair doing here? If you're not sitting on this one, the chair can't do anything. So you have to put your bum on it.
Yeah.
So that's again relates to the first person, Ronan, what he said:
Show up. Yeah.
attend, show up, and don't expect anything. And see how you can help someone else.
Yeah.
How you can find a link to connect to other people. Business will come to you. And my current partnership, my venture, my working with iPing, this is how it came along, right? For some time, I had to go to UK. Again, there was a time where I didn't have much of a customer base, right? There was a bit of tough time, and I decided I'm going to take a step back, away from everything, right?
Before we go down, you mentioned iPing. Can you talk a bit more about what we do at iPing?
Okay, iPing, if this is where I'm coming.
Yeah.
So when I took that step back, went to the UK 3 months, completely did something else, right? So my customer base, through networking, I had met Danny Towel, right? And he was one of the partners in iPing along with Mark Kelly, right? And I said, Danny, I mean, we used to work with each other. If I needed some technical support, he used to send his engineer. If he needed something in iPing, I used to work, and we looked after each other that way, respectfully. And I said to him, Danny, I said, I'm going to UK, switching off for 3 months or so. Or maybe I don't know how long I'm going for, but I have some customers here. They need to be looked after. He said, don't worry, Bilal, we'll look after them. No paper signing, no formal agreement, no witness. That was the trust we built, right? I handed over everything, went away. Then he called me many times, Bilal, we want you, come in iPing. Come back, join us in iPing. I said, okay. So I was trying to not come back, but again, obviously, family was here and he pursued me, right? Came back, and the intention was we join our forces, bring the companies together. So we agreed on more practical approach. What we said, 6 months to 1 year, we're going to work without being partners, right? See how we work together.
Yeah.
If we are all happy, then we will join forces. That's exactly what we did. And when I joined, we were about, I think, 4 or 5 at that time, including Mark, Danny, myself, Alan. Yeah, about 4 or 5. Now we are thankfully about 9 people.
Nice. So your last two ventures, what I learned from there is date before you get married, get to know each other, get to know each other's working style, and then go down and make a formal legal agreement, what you want to call it, but at least get to learn about each other and how we're going to operate together.
Business, all these things, they come secondary, to be
Yeah.
honest. The main thing is I always follow my own philosophy, which is to follow H to H method. One is B2B, you would have learned,
Yeah.
business to business. B2C, business to customer. H to H is human to human.
Yeah.
If people are not connecting, nothing will work.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned from there, and that's the key.
Yeah. In the last episode, we talked with Aloka, and he mentioned people is the backbone, and this is what he learned from his father. times in India when he was doing business is look after your people, they look after your business.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
very well
Mean
said around that.
they are your team who are more important for you. Your team will look after your customers.
Yes.
So yeah, and then obviously I have a great freedom in iPing. Obviously, as I said, I'm not a person of just sitting. So I have a freedom of exploring new opportunities, finding new ventures. I have different. If there is an opportunity, we bring it on the table and we talk about it. Many times we agreed upon, and many times we didn't agree upon.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Nice. So I want to know more about your startup, PsycReality.
Okay.
So let's dive into that.
Okay.
What VR and AI and machine learning, especially around psychology. What are you doing in that?
Whatever. My father passed away due to a mental illness, right? And when I started doing some networking, started traveling into Eastern Europe and on the other side, Balkans, right? I got an opportunity. I was invited as a keynote speaker at IEEE conference, right, in Bosnia. There was a different group of startups, and one of the startup was working on this mental health thing, right, using VR. I invited them after that to why don't you come over to Ireland and we start working together. Agreed, didn't agree, agreed, didn't agree, two agreed, one didn't agree. Eventually, one came over, right? We started working, and then he said no. He had another project in his mind. For that one, his boss funded fully, right? So his attention went there. I said, listen, guys, whatever you have done so far, there is no formal structure, there is no partnership, there is no company structure, there is no IP, right? Whatever you have done, I'm leaving it there. So I'm taking it further from there. So it is basically an exposure therapy, right, which is based on CBT, cognitive behavioral uh, cognitive behavioral therapy. I still get slip of tongue. So CBT based a treatment for social anxieties, phobias and fears, mental illnesses. Currently we are working on the psychology side, phobias, fears, on the anxiety, social anxiety, public speaking, exam anxiety, then also presentation skills, right? Before we dive into psychiatry, which is down the line, autism, dementia, schizophrenia, that's a different thing. So it is giving a person real sense of being present in a situation. You and I are talking, a normal psychology session will be like this, and you are psychologist, you would ask me, Bilal, imagine you are at a height. I will close my eyes. I will take a lot of time to go into that trance. I will I will take time to feel that I'm there, right? I'm trying to make me feel, but I'm not really feeling it, right? So what we have done is we have brought this exposure therapy. So with a VR headset, you are put in that situation. So you are seeing yourself at a height. So we are the first one in the world using real videos in that content with the depth of video of a technology where you can walk within the video, right? So if there is a wall down there at the edge, in the video, I will walk towards that one, right? And I would feel it. So that's exposure therapy based on the clinical trials we conducted in Vienna and Austria that has shown two things. One, up to 50% reduction in the treatment time and over 90% betterment in the anxiety level. So the uh, uh, decreased amount of anxiety and betterment in their personal health. And we have expanded our partnerships into Middle East. We are partnered with Middle East Psychological Association, that is an association for 9 countries. Also, we have partnered up research partnership with Harriet Watt University, Dubai, Scotland, and Malaysia. Also, we are about to sign research partnership with 2 universities in Sao Paulo, in Brazil, and we are working with some educational institutes in Middle East on the commercial side as well. And yeah,
Wow, a lot is happening since we spoke last. So good progress.
thank
Well
you,
done to you.
thank you.
So who is in the team?
Myself, Mark, Farhan, Johannes, we are the founders and co-founders. We have 13 psychologists in our team,
Okay.
right? Those psychologists are from Brazil, from UAE, from India, from Kuwait, and from Ireland and UK. And we have a board of advisors. Those board of advisors, one of the advisors, she is the president of Middle East Psychological Association. She liked the product. She has so much faith and trust in it that she says, yes, I'll work with you guys. And then Professor Par Kalbring, he is a professor of psychology in Stockholm University. He's an author of over 350 scientific papers.
Wow.
He's been working with VR technology, exposure um, since 1993.
That's fascinating.
So we have also acquired a company from Brazil, which they were obviously trying to build a technology, and they had mainly a lot of research behind them, right? So we met at a couple of occasions, and we said, guys, you are good at research side. Stay at it. Let us look after technology.
Mm.
So all the research, we have made an agreement that all the IP of that research is assigned to me and to the company, and they have their part, we have our part, and we are expanding into South America as well.
Okay. So what's the big next steps for PsycReality?
Big big next step is obviously more research, right? And we have recently did a soft launch in Lebanon, in Kuwait, in UAE, right? And now we are answering the queries on the pricing and on the structure, and then we are working with a government institute, a college in UAE. They have over 26,000 students, right? So they want to pilot our projects there, working with them. And then there is a corporate in Kuwait. They are looking at using this product for their corporate employees.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Best of luck with
Thank you
all the
very much.
progress, and I hope all things will work out.
Hopefully,
Yes.
that's the strength. I mean, one thing I would say is where I am, it has taken a bit longer, right? We should have achieved a lot more much earlier, but it's finding the fine line in between overdoing it and not doing it,
Yeah.
and persistence,
Yes.
being persistent.
But sometimes you need time when you're
You
doing
do.
something right, and if it takes time, you need to give that time.
True.
But listening to all the progress you have made and all the plans you have, you are absolutely on the right path. So again, as you said earlier, keep showing up, keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
Okay. So before we come to the conclusion for the
Sure.
show, I want to talk about the book.
Okay. You have done research, your homework. Yes, I'm working on the book, and I've titled it The Wrong Bus in London.
Wow. I love the title already, The Wrong Bus. So let's see what the mystery comes in the book.
Yes, so I will be talking a lot more in detail about the journey which has led me, because of this wrong bus I took, to that computer shop. A lot in between, funny stories as well. One funny story is I'll give you a spoiler. There was a Chinese herbal shop right next to the shop I was working, and there was a very young, cute girl at that shop, and I was 24 at that time, and she was about 18, and we chatted a lot, and I said, I would like to take you out. Oh, speak to my mom. I said, okay, let's speak to her. Called her, and oh no, no, she's too young, and I said, she's 18, and I'm asking your permission. So the long story short, didn't get the permission. Fine, but obviously,
Rejection number one, Bilal.
no, not number one.
All right, one of those
One
rejections.
of those. So, but of its kind,
Yeah.
first one. So obviously, we spoke in general and this and that, and I said, if you wish, we can go out and have some coffee. But I don't drink, so I'm a cheap date, right? Coffee. So one day she comes and hands me over a piece of paper, and quite shy, and leaves. Fine. Blushing, and I said, okay. I opened it. Bilal, you're a very nice guy, and I met you. You're a very nice person, gentleman, blah, 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 blah. So I like you, but I like more girls than boys. I said, okay. So it was not meant to be. So yeah, that's one of the stories.
Okay, great. So when is the book coming out?
You're putting me under pressure. So the aim was to send to the publisher by the end of this year.
Okay,
That's the target I'm working
good.
on.
I'm looking forward to all other stories.
Thank
You
you.
definitely give one spoiler, but I'm looking forward to reading your book
Thank you.
and a signed copy.
Yes, and I'm hoping to see you next week at my podcast launch.
Yes. Do you want to give a brief
Yes,
spoiler to your podcast as well?
it's titled The Mind Bogglers, right? And my guests are either they are the author of a book, or they have done something which has impacted people's life.
Nice.
So these are two criteria I have, and I have got 12 episodes recorded, and launch is next Thursday.
Very good. Looking forward to the launch.
Thank you very much.
Last thing for our audience, with your experiences in your life
Mhm.
from Pakistan to England to Ireland, what message do you want to give it to our audience?
The message would be, don't be afraid of taking any step. The day you will take out that fear from you, you will succeed. Don't be afraid of talking to yourself what you want to do. Think, make those 10 points. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? Read them again next day. So by the end of the week, you would have one solid point. So be genuine to yourself.
Nice, great. So, Bilal, we are running out of time, but it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
And
Likewise.
I learned so much about your journey. It's been very fascinating,
Thank
but
you.
there's a lot of learnings involved. How you navigate your life through different steps, and move on from one to another. And it's about taking the risk and doing what you love.
Take the risk or lose the opportunity.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
Thank you for your time again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.